who Bob Lazar is, he's a guy that was hired by the American government to... He's a scientist, basically. He was a young scientist, and in the late 80s, he was hired to work as... I don't know what his actual job description was.
I don't think he even knew what it was.
No, he didn't know. He was just hired and said, hey, you're going to be doing this thing, working on this thing and trying to figure out how this little reactor works. And the reactor, and he was like, cool, what is it? And you'll be briefed when you're there.
Isn't that weird, though? You're not told what you're working on.
No. And he just read
So
through, and they all
weird.
had like these little code names for different things.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I think that's where he got into where it got scary, because they were like, how to weaponize it, and there was some crazy little name for it. But basically, Bob Lazar was a scientist who was brought into Area 51 and was
S4, Area S4.
which is a thing called S4, which is another bunker where he was.
It's like miles away. It's like how many kilometers? It's in like the same vicinity, but it's like a different branch. of Area 51.
But he was brought in as a scientist to figure out this reactor, and what this reactor did was created gravity, essentially. Anti-gravity, or however you want to say it.
It was
Gravity
like
or anti-gravity.
It was like technology that they were going to use for force fields, right? Had the potential to be for like a force field.
Yeah. And so
That's just like fucking.
that's crazy. Yeah, and I mean, he thought it was the coolest thing ever, and he hadn't.
But you would though. You would.
He hadn't seen a spaceship at
Yeah.
this point or anything. It was only when he was brought in another time, and the front door to the hangar was open, and he walked in, and they said, eyes forward, don't
Yeah.
look, and he went, whoa, and put his hand on it, and it was a spaceship. And there's been so many accounts of people and all saying that Bob Lazar was the guy that blew the whistle on it. Now, was it 1991, I think, on the news?
It was just out of the 80s.
Yeah.
After he finished up, and then
He blew the whistle on it, basically.
because after he got fired, yeah, and then he went there with someone else he worked with or a friend, and then like camped there.
Yeah, so that because he knew the dates.
Yeah,
so
he knew the dates. He knew what times they were working and gonna fly it.
Yeah, at
to
night.
go fly at night and have these handy cams and stuff. And then they got actually caught out. I listened.
Yeah, he started taking his friends there, going,
Fucking-
watch this at 8:30 at night. You're
Yeah.
going to see some lights hover above there. There's no noise. There's no propulsion system.
Yeah.
Nothing like this. And you'll watch it do maneuvers that you haven't seen a plane do or anything like that. And he also, from his account, he went into the ship, I think, once.
Yeah,
He
he
got
went into the ship and then got to see like there was no controls,
No wiring.
no wiring. There's no dashboard of buttons or any like joystick or anything like that. It's
No.
just like, and then the level, like I think it wasn't really small, but it wasn't really big area. I can't remember what the number he said how tall you had to be in it.
Yeah, he said it would be based for smaller people, but
Yeah.
he never spoke of aliens per se. But the ship or the craft he worked on was not from here.
No.
And
Definitely
there was
not.
9 of them, and he said they're all completely different, and he said some actually looked like an archaeological dig had found them. They'd been around that long. He just said, but
Probably used to build the pyramids.
well, who knows? Who knows if they dug it up or whatever? But
Yeah.
pretty interesting character. You should definitely check out pretty much any interview with Bob Lazar and how he speaks about it.